First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds. We got Greg Jennings with us this morning. We got a great show for you on a Tuesday a.m. Hey, did Gronk tell us that he might be coming back? Or are the Giants in the market for yet another quarterback? And why did Kevin Durant leave Golden State? We'll talk to the guy who wrote the book on the Warriors. Literally, Ethan Sherwood Strauss will join us coming up in just a few. But we got to start this morning with Thursday night's draft, also known as who will actually take a chance on Tua. So if it wasn't for a hip injury, Tua Tagovailoa could have been challenging Joe Burrow not only for the Heisman last year, but also for Thursday's #1 overall pick in all likelihood. Reggie Bush was on Fox Football Now, couldn't agree more. He said, quote, a healthy Tua is just as good or better than a healthy Joe Burrow. So, Nick, I ask you, who's got the higher ceiling, Joe or Tua?
I've been saying this all along, and I totally agree with Reggie. I think when we're talking about ceilings, the nod obviously goes to Tua Tagovailoa. If you're talking about sure things, if you're talking about who has the highest floor, then I understand why you would take Joe Burrow, the older, healthier prospect. But in your mind's eye, what are the comps of these guys? Because it's draft season, so it's comp season. Burrow's comp is Tom Brady, poised, accurate, great leadership. Tua's comp is Russell Wilson, a little undersized, extraordinary leader, a better athlete than the average athlete at the position, incredible winner. Who is more likely to realize that full potential, Tua or Joe? I say it's Tua, and I think post-hip injury, Greg, we've started to underrate what this man did, this young man did in college. His 2018 season was one of the greatest seasons in college football history that didn't result in a Heisman Trophy. He set the all-time college football efficiency record. 2019, he was on pace to shatter his own record before his hip unfortunately got shattered. He leaves college football, the all-time leader in passing efficiency, by an enormous margin. He's at 199. Second place is Kyler Murray at 182. The gap between 1 and 2 is greater than the gap between 2 and 10. And so I understand the concern, Greg, about Tua's health. But when it comes to upside, when it comes to can this guy in 3 years go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson in the AFC, to me, the answer is clearly Tua Tagovailoa, Greg.
Yeah, I like Tua in this conversation. And let me start by saying this. Joe Burrow is going to have a really good career, in my opinion. I think he's a very prototypical quarterback, smart. He can make every throw. He has the size, all the intangibles. However, when you look at excitability and playmaking ability and just sheer talent, along with all those other things that you have to have as a quarterback, you give the nod to Tua Tagovailoa. I go back to what he was able to do in college. We're talking about an Alabama Crimson Tide program that did not throw the ball. They did not throw the ball. We didn't identify them as an air attack to any amount of a degree until we saw this young man take over at center in the second half of a national title game, so a championship game. So what he's been able to do with not only mental preparation, but sitting behind a guy who had tremendous amounts of success, step in the role and still take it to another level, he has been ready-made for a situation like this. And I think he's going to excite this league and be something special for any team who decides to jump up and just snatch him.
Well, let me ask you this. There's so many mock drafts in the run-up to Thursday night's real draft. Everyone seems to be making one. My mom made one last night. And what do they all have in common? They all seem to have a little asterisk by Tua's name, right? Yeah, you should read hers. It's actually very informative. A little asterisk by Tua's name, if healthy, because there's a really good chance that he could slip. If he does start to slip, how far do you think he'll fall?
I don't know how, I mean, I hope he falls to Bill Belichick, but I don't think he should be worried about falling. I actually think in a weird way, if he fell, he'd be better off. Because look, when it's all said and done, Tua is a college kid looking to get a job. And being in the sports industry, every once in a while, we have some college graduates that come and shadow the show. So suppose you were an aspiring broadcaster. Suppose you're like, hey, I want to be like Nick Wright. I want to shadow Nick Wright for the day. I would tell you, listen, the later you go, the better off you'll be. Because early on, 5 a.m. Nick Wright, a lot like the Bengals. Organizationally, just an absolute mess. There's some stuff, there's some hope there, but it's really messy. 6 a.m., Nick starts to become like the Browns. Like, wow, if he can get this together, they could be really good, but still some real flaws in the system. 7 a.m., Seahawks.
You have a
wow,
issue with this,
starting to have some fun. It's starting to really work. 8 a.m., now we're getting there. Chiefs, like, whoa, this dude has got it
I'm at my
going
best
on.
at 8 a.m.
He's going to put a lot of points on the board.
Fall off a cliff at 8:30.
He's right,
That's bad.
Nick.
8:30, Patriots, the epitome of excellence, organizationally perfect. So if I'm Tua, I'm looking to fall, because I actually think it'll suit me. Katanik, if we could hit the dream graphic, there you go, Nick. The further he falls, the better off he'll be.
All right, well, obviously you had the Chiefs and Patriots transposed. If I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm a little upset you had the Patriots ahead of them as well. But other than that mistake, your point is well taken in this regard. We can remove that graphic. We don't need to show that anymore. Your point is well taken. When you look at the young quarterbacks who have had the most instant success, it's usually either because they fell in the draft or a team that should not have been in position to draft them traded up to go get them. Philadelphia with Carson Wentz, they traded all the way up to number 2. I think they had to make 2 trades, actually. So they were a team better positioned to succeed. Seattle with Russell Wilson obviously got him in the 3rd round. The Chiefs traded up, a playoff team traded up to go get Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson's team, the Texans, traded up to go get him after they had fallen somewhat. So the point, your point that very rarely does a Kyler Murray take over for a team that literally earned the number 1 overall pick and have instantaneous success is well taken. But if Tua slips past the Miami Dolphins, they've lost their minds. They are so well set up to supercharge this reload. You take Tua at 5, you take a wide receiver at 18, you take an offensive lineman at 26, you have 2 first-rounders next year, and you're ready to go. You can be the class of the AFC East moving forward after 1 year where Tua either redshirts or plays sparingly his rookie season. But if he does fall past them, you've got the Chargers at 6, Panthers at 7, Jags at 9, all of whom could be in the quarterback business. So, Greg, I don't know about you, but I find it inconceivable that Tua slips out of the top 10.
Yeah, I'm with you. When you look at the quarterback level of I shouldn't say level, when you look at the quarterback landscape of free agency right now and you look at who's out there, a guy like Cam Newton, even we can go down a little notch with Jameis Winston. These are guys that have proven that they can play in this league. Obviously, Jameis Winston has had his struggles, but Cam Newton to still not be on a roster for a team to not raise their hand and say, I want that guy, it's because of someone in the draft that you're looking at. You got a guy like Tua. You got a guy like Herbert. You got these young guys that quarterbacks or teams are going to be salivating at an opportunity to raise their hand and that draft pick become theirs. So I don't see him slipping at all. And to your point, he's not going to go past the Miami Dolphins. When you look at the struggles that they've had at this position specifically, since Dan Marino, they've never really had that guy to where they've said, here, we're going to turn over the keys of the franchise to you at quarterback. They haven't had it. They want it. Tua's that guy.
All right, we're going to break there. Coming up on the other side, will Aaron Rodgers return to MVP form in his 2nd year under head coach Matt LaFleur? That's next on First Things First.